I really hate eating by myself. Are there any gentlemen here who might want company? Oh, Dutch treat, of course.
Hi, I'm Elliot Jaffa, and what we're going to talk about is how to pick up men. Let me briefly run through my qualifications. A lot of people say, how are you qualified to teach this type of class, how to pick up men? By training, I'm a behavioral psychologist. I'm still single. I'm still heterosexual. But I would say probably a lot of women have asked me and complained and said, I'm not meeting any good men. My girlfriends meet quality men. I never meet the right kind of men. And I would recommend something to them. I would say, try this, try that, and it's something in a non-traditional way. And they would say, what are you, crazy? Soon someone would say to me, what are you, crazy? I know they like the idea. So I would say, go out and try it, call me in a few weeks and let me know what happens. Invariably, I would get phone calls back to say, hey, I did what you said, I thought it was offbeat, I thought it was unusual, but it worked. Now I want to let you know this is not nursery school. This is not assertiveness for sissies, this is not advanced meekness. This is hardcore. We're talking pickup. Now, let's first talk about the traditional meat markets, and I don't know if you spell that M-E-E-T or M-E-A-T, but let's take them one by one. How many people have been or have tried some type of organized singles function, organized singles club? Okay, how was it? How did you do?
I didn't like it.
Didn't like it.
Me, I'm also same way.
What I find the negatives about the organized singles club, the organized singles function, is it turns into a record hop for adults. All the men are on this side of the room, all the women are on that side of the room until when? 5 minutes before the function's over, the lights go up and people say, hey, we have to leave now? What do we have to leave for? But for 3 hours, all the men were on that side of the room, all the women were on that side of the room. So I'm down on organized singles clubs, organized singles functions, because they tend to turn into a record hop for adults. Next, let's take classified ads. Classified ads in magazines and newspapers are probably one of the most popular things. The reason I'm down on advertising to meet somebody is, let me just save you some money if you ever decide to run one. I'm going to tell you what the two most inane words in the English language are. Attractive and professional. You see that in every single ad. Now, every room that you walk into, everybody would agree and concur that they're attractive and professional. The next two most inane words are meaningful relationship. You see that in every ad. People are looking for a meaningful relationship. Well, really, they're not. What you're looking for is sharing. So the only way I recommend answering ads or running ads, if you're creative, if you think you're a writer, if you like the air of mystery and delay, because you never know what you're going to get inside an envelope. So I'm down on ads. Now let's talk about the bar scene. Who hasn't tried the bar scene? One woman hasn't tried the bar scene. Okay, what happens in bars? Why do women go to bars? Watch my lips, they're not hard questions. Why do women go to bars? To meet men. Now, why do men go to bars? No, they don't go there
to look over the women.
To look over the women in hopes of
finding a good time. Yeah.
Getting lucky, exactly, to share the other half of that double bed, right? Okay, bars are not time effective or cost effective, so for you ladies to meet a prince in a bar, you're going to have to sift through a lot of toads. Okay, the best time to go to bars is during happy hour, from 5 to 7:30. That's when men are there just for a drink to unwind after work. Not to say bars aren't good places to meet men, to pick them up right after work. So at 7:30, get out of the bar. If you're in the middle of a conversation, 7:30, get out of the bar. But the most important thing is in learning to pick up men, you do it by yourself. Ladies, don't travel like a pack of nuns in a station wagon. I mean, the worst thing is to have a man come up to two women, and then he's going to remember which one worked here, which one lived there, that if you're going to a place together, spread out. You work that side of the room, you work that side of the room, and maybe every 20 minutes, every half hour, meet in the ladies' room to compare notes, but spread out. Now, I want to let you know that at this class, just like a lot of my classes, there's 3 groups of people. The first group are the people that are going to do what I say. They're going to make changes in their business lives, their social lives. They're going to be successful at picking up men. They're the action people. My second group of people are my water middies. They're going to sit there and say, oh, I could never do that. Oh, I just couldn't do that. Oh my God, I had a woman sit here through an hour and a half. I thought she had like a respiratory problem. Okay, they're going to laugh at the jokes. They're here for entertainment. they're here vicariously. So that's the second group of people. And then there's always one person that says, this guy's crazy, which is okay too, because you can't be liked by everybody. Granted, there's people that like you, there's people that you don't like. It's okay not to be liked by everybody. So those are essentially the three groups of people that are here at my class. But why are you ladies here? Why are you afraid to pick up men? Or why are ladies reluctant to pick up men?
Well, in the society or in the culture that we grew up in, nice girls don't.
Nice girls don't.
Right.
Why else? What's the most important reason? Why are you afraid to pick up men?
I think there's an element of fear.
Fear of what?
Rejection.
Exactly, the fear of rejection. That's what I hear constantly. Well, I hate to tell you ladies, you've been rejected your whole lives. Mommy, can I go out and play? No. Daddy, can I have another cookie? No. Us guys have been hearing our whole lives, would you like to dance? No, thank you. Anybody here looking for a job? Nobody here looking for a job. People are looking for jobs, more than likely have a whole set of resumes Xeroxed. Why? Because they know they're going to get rejected. If they were confident, they would just send one out. Even Uncle Sam's New Army's rejecting people. They used to take everybody. One of these days, God is going to give you the final form of rejection, so there's nothing wrong with rejection. Okay? There's nothing to be afraid of. You're going to hear the word no, and it's no big deal. Now, the important thing is let's look at who you are. I want you to assess whether you're Miss Sunshine or Miss Doom and Gloom. Because let's look at the two characteristics. Miss Sunshine is a positive person.
I'm upbeat, I make things happen, I'm not afraid of rejection, and I take risks.
Miss Doom and Gloom is looking for every possible negative.
It's too hot, it's too cold, it's raining out, I won't know anybody.
So that's the important thing, is to assess your personality as to, do you go into a room as Miss Doom and Gloom, or do you go into a room as Miss Sunshine? That's the important thing. But before we get into picking up men, let me quickly go over how to blow it. I don't want you blowing it. Okay, the first thing, there's some nevers. Never ask a man if he's married or working steadily. Okay? If you want to find out how a man is married, that's one of the biggest concerns, is how do you find out if a man's married?
You can ask for his phone number to call him later.
Exactly. Always ask for his home number. Oh, I'm never there. You can never catch me there. Okay, if a man is telling you he's never there and doesn't want to give you his home phone number, he's probably hiding something like a wife and a couple kids. So forget looking at the ring for the ring, because many that take them off or they don't wear them. But to find out if a man's married, always ask for his home number. Secondly is don't babble, babble, babble. Be self-conscious, come across as being desperate, complain. Remember, who complains? That's Miss Doom and Gloom. When you get to know him better, then you can complain. Never interrupt. Whether the man's talking about his car, whether he's talking about his cat, just keep smiling. Then, when you get to know him better, then you can tell him to put a lid on it. But never interrupt. So let's set up some situations in meeting men. And taking it one step further, we're talking about picking them up. You're walking down the street, whether you're walking down the Avenue of the Americas in New York, Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles, Connecticut Avenue in Washington, D.C. You're walking down the street. This man is getting closer to you. The closer he gets, the better looking he gets. You have to have this man. You have to pick him up, but he's getting closer. And remember, if he passes you, it's just like a football touchdown. All he has to do is cross that imaginary plane. And if he crosses you, he's out of your life completely. You can't say, Shane, Shane, come back, Shane. What do? And you don't trip him. Okay, this man's getting closer to you. How do you pick him up?
Excuse me, I wonder if you could help me. Can you point me in the direction of the post office, please?
Always pick something in the direction that he's walking, whether it's the name of the street, a landmark. Don't ask where Ernie's Luncheonette is. Or Mom's Diner. Pick something that he knows definitely where it is in the direction that he's walking. So he's going to say,
your problem is you're going in the wrong direction. The post office is 2 blocks in that direction.
No wonder I can't find it.
Yeah.
And you could stand in front of the mirror, practice. Oh, no wonder I'm having trouble finding it. So what you're going to do is now you're going to walk along with him. Now you don't know if he's walking a half a block, 2 blocks, or walking to Georgia. What do you do next?
Do you mind if I walk with you?
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay. Hi, my name is Lois.
Les.
Hi, nice to meet you.
How do you do?
So now the two of you know each other's names. You've touched, you've shaken hands. Again, you don't know how far he's walking. What do you do next?
Ask him where he's going?
Okay, you could ask him where he's going. Remember, what's your goal? Your goal is what? Let's go to the goal. What's the objective?
A close.
The close. You go for the close. And that's when you're going to suggest that the two of you get together. And one of the basic rules in getting together is to schedule your first post-pickup rendezvous in a bright, wide-open, airy place, such as an outdoor cafe, if the time of the year and the weather permit, a hotel lounge or a hotel lobby bar that has lots of plants, has an atrium that's bright and airy. Don't go to a dark, dingy cocktail lounge. Don't go to the most popular place in town where you're going to run into people you know who are going to say hello to you, say hello to him, and bother you. And when you're going for the close, say, what's a good day next week for us to get together for a cup of coffee or a drink? What did I say? Let's analyze what I said. What's a good day next week for us to get together for a cup of coffee or a drink? Next week. That's the first thing to remember. I don't care if you meet a man on a Monday. You got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you start pushing too close too soon, what's he going to think?
Desperate.
Desperate, exactly. What's a good day next week for us to get together for a cup of coffee or a drink? Nothing can be safer than coffee. That's how you go for the close for a post-pickup rendezvous. Why? You want him to think about you for a few days. You want him to go back to the office to talk to his best friend and say, you know, I met this woman who was totally delightful. She was like Miss Sunshine. She was a beam in my life compared to who? The other women that I've been meeting lately. So one thing you might simply say, remember, you don't know if he is living with someone, you don't know if he's married, you don't know if he has a girlfriend. One thing I recommend you say is,
Gee, Les, I don't know if you're married, engaged, or in love, but would you like to get together one day next week and have a cup of coffee or a drink?
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea.
Oh, good. I'm pleased. Great.
most men will like that approach. They love to be picked up. They like gutsy women. Remember, you're walking down downtown, the financial district, you're walking down the street, and you're talking, what might he ask you?
Do you work down here? Or
Yeah,
where
he
are you
might say,
going?
where do you work? And you say, well, I work right over there. You knew where the post office was. You lied. You're one of those weird women. You must be the female, the female counterpart of a pervert, right? What are you going to say?
I just wanted to meet you.
Exactly. I saw you and I wanted to meet you. Don't you think he's going to take that as a compliment? Of course he is. Wouldn't you take it as a compliment that the man said to you, I saw you and I just wanted to meet you? Of course you're going to take it as a compliment. So go for the close immediately. But if you rely on the traditional ways of meeting men, what are you going to be doing?
Waiting.
Waiting. What else are you going to be doing?
Sitting home.
Yeah, you're going to be sitting home a lot. That I doubt if anybody here, your phone's ringing off the hook, or if there's a line of men outside your door. No. Okay, so let's be realistic. If you rely on the traditional ways of meeting men, you're going to be sitting home a lot. And never assume the man you see has lots and lots of dates, because he doesn't. But I have seen women say, oh, he probably has a girlfriend, he probably has lots of dates, he's probably busy. Who's talking? That's Miss Doom and Gloom. She's thinking negative. The important thing is to think positive. I want to let you know that pickup takes practice. What you learn takes practice. So you have to practice just like you're learning any new skill. And the skill you're learning is how to pick up men. Secondly, be patient. Just like going fishing. Don't expect that as soon as you drop that hook in the water, a 14-pound bass is going to jump on the other end. Or a 162-pound man is going to jump on the other end. Okay, be patient. Don't be desperate. And act your age. The other thing to do is to act confident. That you're not above this, but you're totally confident you do this all the time. This is the way you meet men. The other thing you could do to a man is always borrow something that belongs to him. Now, you ask a man to borrow a pen. A man keeps a pen in one of two places. Either the breast pocket of his jacket or a shirt pocket. So you say,
Excuse me, do you have a pen I could borrow?
he pulls the pen out. Now, as long as you have his pen, what's he going to do?
Track you
Stay
down.
with you.
He's going to stay with you. He's not going to say,
Yeah, that's a gold cross. You can keep it. I have several more at home.
no, he's going to stay right there with you. And I don't care if you have to take his pen and say, let's see, milk, bread, eggs. He's going to stay right with you because as long as you're holding on his pen, he's going to stay there.
As long as I have your pen, why don't you give me your name and phone number?
It's Steve.
Reverse it. Remember, it's tacky for a man to pull out a pen and ask you for your name and phone number, isn't it? But what's it look like when a lady does it with his pen? It's a whole new ball game. So try it and see what happens. You could borrow his newspaper. If you see a man carrying a newspaper,
Excuse me, could you tell me how IBM closed yesterday?
I don't know.
Oh, could I borrow your business section for a moment? Great, thank you. Oh, good. Oh, good. Great. Can I borrow your movie section for a second? Give your business back. Oh, the feature starts in half an hour. Do you want to go with me?
Sure.
Oh, good. Great. Okay, here.
see what happens, because all you want is the smile. You want the chuckle, you want the interest. So as long as you have something that belongs to him, he's going to stay there and talk to you. Now let's talk about the #1 place to pick up men. In any city in the USA, the #1 place to pick up men is on the street. What street? Pick the financial district, the business district of any city. Whether it's Connecticut and L in Washington, D.C., whether it's Avenue of the Americas in New York, any street, pick the financial district, the business district, because between 12 and 1:30 any afternoon, Monday through Friday, pray that you could have the names of the men that walk by. If you had the names of those men that walk by from 12 to 1:30, Monday through Friday, you ladies would be set for life. You're on the street, you pick a nice day, and you're going to say to yourself, well, gee, I don't work in that part of town. I work in another part of town. You know what? You ever heard of annual leave? You ever heard of sick leave? How many ladies would call in sick Monday morning if they could meet a Superman? Yeah, just about every one of you. Okay? So use some of that annual leave, use some of that personal leave, and go to that street in the city to pick up the men. That's the #1 spot because they walk by. Another good place to pick up men is the supermarket. That's probably the #2 best place to pick up men, is a supermarket. First thing you have to know is when to go there to pick up men. What age men are you interested in picking up?
35 to 45.
35 to 45.
25 to 32.
25 to 32. So how do you know when to go to the supermarket?
Test it.
Test it. By testing it, you're going to take up a lot of time. Best thing to do is pick a bright, big, airy, huge supermarket where a lot of single men shop. Go up to a checker. Ask the checker, when is the best time to come in here to meet men between 25 and 32? When's the best time to pick up men? Maybe you better not use the word pick up. When do most single men between 25 and 35 shop? When do most single men between 45 and 50 shop? Ask the checker. And don't be satisfied with the answer you get from one checker. Scientifically, go to a second checker to make sure you know when to go there. The checker might say Saturday mornings between 10 and 12. They might say Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays right after work. So now you know when the best time to pick up men. Now, where's the best department to pick up men? Obviously, the meat department. What you do is you go into the meat department, wait till a man looks good to you, pick up a steak, and say, excuse me, how long are you supposed to boil this for? That's exactly what you want to do, is to get a smile, to get a chuckle out of him. Because if he looks at you like, what are you, a weirdo? Do you want anything to do with him? No. Absolutely not. So you're looking for a man who's going to smile, who's going to chuckle. Because if you get the smile, if you get the chuckle, you're halfway there. It's like being on third base, heading for home. The unusual thing about the supermarket, it's one of the few places that when something is in your cart, it sort of belongs to you even though you haven't paid for it. I mean, we don't go to a supermarket taking a roast out of somebody else's cart, taking the mushrooms out of another person's cart. So what you do is you go to the produce department, the second best place to pick up men. Pick up a cantaloupe and say, excuse me, you look like you know about these things. Notice how when you go to hand somebody something, they automatically reach for it. Excuse me, you look like you know about these things. Is this ripe? Now back away. What's the person going to do?
You're supposed to pay attention.
So much for the kennel.
So much for the kennel.
So much for the date.
Whatever you do, ladies, please don't pick up a cucumber. I mean, an avocado, a cantaloupe, a head of lettuce, anything but a cucumber. The funny thing is what happens to us in the supermarket is you're walking down the aisle and this man's getting closer to you, and usually after he passes you, you usually think of 100 things to say, right? And what do? You quickly go up the next aisle and come down and kind of start looking at the shelves. And he's standing there saying, well, let's see, I wonder if she's going to buy the Pampers or the Huggies, that you're not really paying attention to where you are. So don't let him pass you. Meat department, produce department, and then the next thing to do is to go for the clothes. Simply say to the man, last one through the checkout line buys coffee. Most men are going to like that. They're going to like women who are gutsy because we're a shopping center. But where are supermarkets? They're usually in a shopping center that has a coffee shop, a drugstore, a fast food restaurant. We're not talking about driving back to your apartment or back to his house to have coffee. Have coffee right there. The only thing you have to do is pray that he doesn't have a half gallon of ice cream and it's the summertime. Remember, picking up men is analogous to going shopping. Just imagine yourself in a supermarket. You have your cart and you say, oh, let's see, I need a blonde. Put a blonde in your cart. Oh, I'm low on redheads, let me take a redhead. And oh, I better pick up a couple brunettes. And you put a couple brunettes in your cart. That's what picking up men is. You're going shopping. So what you have to do is make yourself better than the competition. Or at least make yourself look better than the competition, both physically and verbally. Because picking up takes practice. It's just like people in sales. You want to make your product, your service better than the competition. Secondly, reveal enough about yourself to want that man to want to know you better. You want to make him want you. Remember, who has he been meeting up till now? Miss Doom and Gloom. A lot of garbage. So you want to make yourself come across as wanting him to want you. Okay, another great place to pick up men is an elevator. An elevator is 30 square feet. They're 6 by 5. Now, unfortunately, what most people do in elevators is this. They think the only reason those numbers are up there is so you look at them, so you don't have to talk to the people on your left and your right. But haven't you seen great-looking men in elevators that you look like you wanted to meet? The elevator is a super place to meet men. But what do you do? Now, a couple things. You get on the elevator and push 3, and he pushes 5. Do you have to get off at the 3rd floor? You could ride up to 5 with him. And when you get off, he's not going to turn to you and say, you pushed 3. I saw you push 3. You don't belong on the 5th floor. Because you can't go up to the 5th floor later and think, is he behind door number 1? Is he behind door number 2? Is he behind door number 3? No. And you don't know if he's visiting or if he works in that building, and you can't walk into every office and say, excuse me, is there a man about 6 foot tall with a gray suit on? No. So you have to strike while the iron is hot. Men like women who are gutsy. One thing to do in the elevator is simply straighten his tie. Excuse me, you look like you're on the way to an important meeting. Let me straighten your tie. Elevators don't have mirrors. My tie wasn't crooked. Why are you touching my tie? You ask men, ask friends of yours. Every man would love it for a woman to straighten his tie. So all you have to do is simply say, excuse me, you look like you're on your way to an important meeting. Let me straighten your tie. What do you do next?
Introduce yourself.
Exactly, introduce yourself. Forget the other people there. If there's 4 other people in the elevator, if there's 1 other person in the elevator, they're envious of you because you're unable to do something that they can do. Remember, those other ladies in the elevator are going to be banging their heads against the wall that you picked him up and they didn't. Get off the elevator with him. Excuse me, I saw you and I just wanted to meet you. So the elevator is a great place to pick up men, and it's one of the most overlooked places because that's usually where you see people. And forget the fact that there's other people in the elevator. Whenever you see a man carrying packages.
Hi, can I help you? Something?
Oh, hi. Yeah.
You got another light one?
Thanks.
I can take a light one.
Yeah, that's the light one there.
Great, okay.
Thanks very much. My house is over there.
Okay.
My name's Michael. What's yours?
Helene.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, sure.
You're going to come like his nitrous and shining armor. Ask him if you could carry one, or if you have packages. Excuse me, can you grab one of these packages for me? Believe me, he's not going to take your package and run. Ask if you could carry the package. Another great way of picking up men is on a rainy day. A rainy day, get yourself a big, beautiful golf umbrella, a big umbrella, and go down, again, to the financial district, the business district, a place where there's a lot of foot traffic. Hold the umbrella and wait till you see a man that looks good to you, who does not have an umbrella. Sashay up to him and say,
Hi, you want to share my umbrella? But you have to carry it.
Were you going that way?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, well, sure, why not?
Oh, great, good. My name is Linda.
Oh, hi, my name's Stan.
Nice to meet you, Stan.
Nice to meet you.
Only because I have an umbrella, I know.
No, that's not true.
you want to find a man who doesn't have an umbrella, and he's going to appreciate that. Wouldn't you appreciate it, ladies? If you were walking down the street and you didn't have an umbrella and it was drizzling, if it was raining, and the man said, would you like a ride underneath my umbrella? You do the same thing. So umbrellas. The other thing you want to do is to go where men are, where women are going to be in the minority and men are going to be in the majority. What kind of room is a good room to find lots of men? What kind of room is a good room to find lots of men? Right, a men's room. Now granted, remember, don't come across as too desperate and stand right outside the door. But whenever you go to a social function, whenever you go to a party, stand on the path to the men's room. I don't care if he came with his wife, he came with a date, he came with his girlfriend, he has to go to the bathroom by himself. Wait till he's coming out of the men's room before you introduce yourself. But what did he do in the men's room? For the most part, he probably straightened his tie, he looked in the mirror to see if his hair was combed, he looked in the mirror to see if he was neat, just like ladies do. So he's concerned about his appearance. So if it's a social function, a business function, meet a man on his way outside of the men's room. Now the important thing to do is you look him in the eye. When you're talking to a man, you're looking him in the eye. As long as I'm looking you in the eye, what do I have?
My attention.
Exactly. I have your attention as long as I'm looking you in the eye. As soon as I glance away for a split second, what did I do?
You're wondering, I would be wondering if you're searching for somebody else and not interested in me.
Exactly. You'd be breaking that attention. As long as I'm looking in your eye, I have your attention. Keep that in mind. Don't look at the door, don't glance away for a split second, because if you do, you just said, I'm sort of not interested. So that's number one, to look him in the eye. The second thing to do is to smile. Now, I learned my lesson the hard way. Years ago, I was at a party with a good friend of mine, and a woman came up to us and said, how come you guys aren't smiling? I said, gee, I didn't know we were supposed to. She says, look at you, you have suits on, you look like you went to college, you probably have jobs, you should smile. So I said, okay, we'll smile. So I called my friend, you go over into that corner, I'll go over into this corner, and we stood there with our drinks going, and we start smiling. Within minutes, women were coming up to talk to us. So I learned that whenever I go into a room, I have to get that smile on my face. So I might have to practice and go, no, that's not the one. Get the right smile on your face, because when you walk into a room, you want to come in like that beam of sunshine. And you could play politician. You know how politicians, hi, nice to see you. Now, if you walk into a room, ladies, and smile, and just turn to somebody and say, hi, nice to see you. Who, me? Is it me that you're nice to see? They're not going to say that. They're going to assume you're talking to somebody behind them, someone next to them, someone else. But come across with the smile. So the smile is the second best thing. The other thing you need to do is to say something. Anything. It's not what you say, it's how fast you say it. And let's not say lines. What sign are you? Come here often. Haven't I seen you somewhere else before? Let me teach you the single greatest line. And I learned this the hard way. So you remember, I had to pay my dues. Years ago, I was at a party with a lot of professional football players. You know, these guys are 9'7", 850 pounds. And a little milquetoast of a guy comes up to me and he said, I've been watching you tonight, talking to a lot of the women. You must really have a great line. And I said, would you like to know it? And this guy's eyes lit up like a Christmas tree. I says, it goes like this. Hi, my name's Elliot, but if I were you, I would use your name. So, when you go up to somebody and I say, hi, my name's Elliot.
Hi, I'm Bonnie.
Finally. What did Bonnie do? Let's look at what Bonnie did. Bonnie touched my hand. We have made physical contact. So Bonnie has assessed that I'm not diseased. But 99% of the time, a person, when you say, hi, my name is, what are they going to do?
Say their name.
Exactly, they're going to tell you their name. At the same time you ask them their name, what do you do with your eyes?
Eye contact.
Eye contact. What do you do with your face?
Smile.
Smile. So you put the package together, you got the single greatest line by saying, hi, my name is Kathy, my name is Susan, my name is Diane. And you have the man's undivided attention, plus you have already made physical contact with him. Now, as far as lines go, you could say anything, whatever works for you, because what works for you is not going to work for her. What you think is corny, she's going to think is fantastic. So you could say simply, I saw you, and I just wanted to meet you. Bookstores. Any bookstore is a good place to pick up men. Why? Wait till he picks up a book and simply say, excuse me, have you read his first one? And you have to pray that the person wrote one before that book. You also have to pray that it's not the Bible he's holding. But what you want to do is simply open up the conversation by saying, excuse me, did you read her first one? Get the conversation going. Because if you both have interest in whatever that subject might be, even if you don't have interest in what that subject might be, at least you say something. It doesn't matter what you say, it's how fast you say it. And the same thing goes for a liquor store. Pick up a bottle of anything and say, if you're looking for a 64 Moulinex, if you don't know French, if you're looking for a 64 red wine, this is as good at half the price. It gets their attention. And then hand it to them. Because as you hand somebody a bottle of wine, what's he going to do?
Take it.
Naturally reach for it, and he's holding something that sort of belongs to you. So he's going to stand there. He's not going to put it down and walk away. So picking up a bottle of wine in a liquor store will always be a good way of picking up a man. Restaurants. We all hate eating lunch. We all hate eating dinner alone, but we find ourselves doing it. When you're in a restaurant, one thing you could do is say to the hostess,
I really hate eating by myself. Are there any gentlemen here who might want company? Oh, Dutch treat, of course.
ask the man if you could join him. As the hostess is showing you to your table, turn to two men and say,
Excuse me, gentlemen. I hate eating alone. May I join you?
Well, sure. Please sit down.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
My name's Steve.
Hi, I'm Eva.
Hi, and this is Howard.
Hi,
He's a
nice to
business
meet you,
partner.
sir.
We work at the law firm down the street.
Oh, I'm not interrupting, am I?
Oh, no, not at all. You just...
Have you ordered already?
Yes, we have. The seafood's very good here.
Well, maybe you can recommend something for me. I've never eaten here before.
because when you eat lunch or dinner by yourself, it's 20 minutes, a half an hour. But when you eat with somebody else, you'll have another cup of coffee, you'll engage in conversation, and you'll stretch it out to 45 minutes or an hour. How about lines? Don't we all wait in lines?
Oh, yes.
The bank, to get into the movie, the restaurant, the checkout in the supermarket. And what do? We all have that type A behavior where we look for the shortest line. Look for the best looking man. Wait until he gets in line, then you fall in behind him. Because if you're going to wait 5 minutes to get on the airplane or 10 minutes to get into that movie theater, better you should be talking to a good looking man in front of you than to a 62-year-old lady. So before you get in that line, wait 5 extra minutes until a man who looks good to you gets in that line, then fall in behind him. Another great place to pick up men who travels in their job. Okay, airports. Airports are fantastic, that when you go to get your boarding pass, they ask you one question, only one question, which is what?
Smoking, non-smoking.
Exactly, smoking or non-smoking. Here's what I want you to say. Non-smoking on the aisle next to the best-looking man on the plane. And if he's not here yet, save the seat next to me for him. Because whatever adjective you want to use, the best-looking man, the most intelligent-looking man, the most witty man, whatever, fill in the blank. Because if you're going for an hour flight to Chicago, a transcontinental flight, a European flight, better you should be sitting next to a man who looks good to you than next to some other man who's reading an annual report, a little child coloring. So let the person at the ticket counter know who you want to sit next to. It's okay to wait for your American Airlines flight in the United Airlines. In TWA, they will let you sit there. So you see a man who looks good to you at Northwest Orient, sit there, talk to him. He says, oh, are you going to Minneapolis too? No, I'm going to Dallas. Dallas? Well, I'm on TWA. Well, why are you sitting here? He says, well, there were no attractive men over in the TWA. He's going to take that as a compliment. So believe me, American will let you wait for United flight in American.
Something else, too, that I finally figured out. They've always scheduled me with breaks at O'Hare or at Atlanta. And at first I resented it because I wanted through flights. But on a Friday afternoon, O'Hare and the Atlanta airport, the whole world goes through. There's loads of good-looking men in the airports.
So you could just schedule a flight 4 hours hence and just keep working the whole airport.
Yeah, you give yourself a big enough break to do a little moving around.
Another thing, remember also at the airport, what do we usually say? We usually say to people, watch my stuff, right? No one's going to go through your stuff. It's not like soon as you go to the ladies' room, soon as you go to buy a magazine, that there's somebody going through your baggage. But we always feel comfortable by saying to someone, watch my stuff. Find a man who looks good to you, say, watch my stuff. Buy a pack of mints, go to the ladies' room, get a drink of water, come back, thank the gentleman for watching your stuff. You can have fun with him and say, you didn't steal anything, did you? You didn't take the gold out of there, did you? Again, now I feel grateful, would you like a mint? Start talking. And one of the best things to always ask a man immediately as soon as you meet him is for his business card. Most people have business cards and they use them mainly for pleasure. You know, the company they work for gives them 1,000 business cards and they use them more for pleasure than they do for business. So here's some business cards. You have a man's business card, you have a collection of business cards. What do you do? If you have a man's card, use it within 3 days. Now, ladies, one of the complaints I hear all the time is, what happens? Why do men ask for ladies' phone numbers? They never call. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Guy takes down my number and he never calls. If you don't call within 3 days, you should just take that card and throw it away. It like automatically disintegrates. So collect men's business cards. Call them within 3 days and call them up and say, hi Bob, this is Kathy. Who? If he says who and doesn't know who you are, forget it. Bob, I wonder if you could help me. I see that you work for IBM. Maybe you could help me or aim me in the right direction. Where can I get a copy of their annual report? Oh, hold on, I'll put my secretary on. Forget it. He's got no interest. Oh, I can get you one. You can? Yeah. Then listen, does he want to meet you for lunch? Does he want to mail it to you? Does he want to bring it to you? Does he want to meet you somewhere with it? So by having a man's business card works wonders. Now, how many of you ladies have business cards? Okay, so about half of you do, half of you don't. And let's see what's on somebody's business card. Sometimes, not to say there's anything wrong with your occupation, but you might think about getting another business card made mainly for picking up men. How so? Well, Kathy Smith, consultant, it's a little boring. Systems programmer, a little boring. What I want you to do is start collecting business cards. Anybody, men, women. Find the right color you want, the right texture, the right printing. Now you're going to go to a printer and have them print you some cards. Cards aren't expensive to have printed up. Remember, the first question people ask when they meet is what?
Where do you work?
Where do you work? What do you do? That's why you need business cards. So rather than saying, I'm a teacher, I'm a programmer, I'm a salesperson, not to say there's anything wrong with those occupations, simply say, I'm a brain surgeon. Now, if you were a brain surgeon, what would you be calling yourself?
Doctor.
A doctor. What else?
A neurosurgeon.
A neurosurgeon, exactly. So when a man says to you, what do? You say, I'm a brain surgeon. No, you're not. Reach in your purse, give him a business card. Kathy Jones, brain surgeon. No job too large or too small. Daytime, nighttime, Saturdays too. Right? There's a sense of humor. And that's all it is for, is to get the icebreaker, to get the smile on his face. Now here's a card from a woman. It says Kathy with her phone number. Long walks, good conversation, movies, concerts, dining out, sincere. And the purpose was just to give to men, because it has her name, it has her phone number, her interests are on there, and she chooses who she wants to give it to. So whether you have a business card or not, I recommend that you have another one made just for picking up men. Other props. Props are so much fun to pick men up with. For example, a camera. You don't even have to put film in your camera. You could be like Alfie. If you remember the movie Alfie, he never had film in his camera. Go to a place where there's a lot of men walking by and look for a sign, a picture, a store, a statue, something that you would like to have your picture taken next to. And you say, excuse me.
Excuse me, would you mind taking a picture of my dog and me?
Oh, no.
It's all set to go. I think it's all.
Okay.
Okay? Won't take you a minute.
Easy one to use,
Thank
eh?
you. Just snap it right there. Okay. You
Yeah,
ready?
some
Look at the
focus and
camera.
everything?
Yes, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, look at the camera. Darling, yes,
Okay,
darling.
smile.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, let me take one of you real quick. Okay?
Okay.
Good. His name is Boaz. Go ahead.
Oh, with the dog.
Yeah.
Boaz.
Okay, ready? Smile. Oh, great. That's cute. Oh, good.
What do you need next? You need his name and address to mail it to him. So you say,
Why don't you write down your name and address and I'll send you a copy?
Sure.
What a darling. Yes.
mail him a note saying, it didn't come out, you broke my camera. But I would like another chance to try again with your name and your phone number. See what happens, because if he calls you, what's he telling you?
He's interested.
He's interested, exactly. How many people here have a dog? What kind of dog do you have?
Just a cur, mixed breed.
A mixed breed.
German Shepherd Husky.
German Shepherd Husky.
Terrier.
Terrier. Don't people like to pet your dog?
Oh, yes.
Again, go to a spot in town, wherever it might be, where there's a lot of men. Sit down with the dog. If you don't have a dog, borrow a dog. Any dog owner will let somebody else borrow their dog. The important thing to remember is to get a dog that will not take somebody's hand off. Okay? Take the dog, find a place to sit.
Oh my, what a cute dog.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, boy, how are you? Hey, let's just sit down there. Hey.
His name is Boaz.
He's very cute. Boaz, eh?
My name is Brenda. Hi.
Hi, my name's Harold.
Oh, nice to meet you, Harold.
Hi. My next door neighbor when I was a kid had a dog a lot like this, same colors and everything.
They're going to tell you their whole life history with dogs. But dogs are one of the best props to pick up men. And again, if you don't have a dog, borrow one. You'll see the results that you get. How many people here like to go to parties? Everybody. Is anybody going to a party in the next week or 2 or 3? And if I said to you, can I bring a friend? Can I come?
Yes.
Can I bring a friend?
Yes.
What you do is whenever you see a man that looks good to you, simply say, some friends of mine are having a party next month. Write down your name and address, and I'll have them mail you an invitation. Is there anybody who wouldn't write down their name and address? You didn't ask for anything. Some friends of mine are having a party next month. Write down your name and address, and I'll have them mail you an invitation. Now, you don't have a party to go to. A month goes by. Finally, 2 months go by, someone invites you to a party. You say, can I invite another guy? Oh, sure. Next thing you do is go to the card store and buy the best party invitations you could find. The real fancy ones, the real expensive ones, and send them an invitation. Just fill in the blanks, the date, the time. And then you write, Dear George, this is the party that I told you my friends were throwing. Feel free to bring along a friend. Kathy. He gets this invitation. He thinks everybody got the same invitation. He's not going to walk around saying, did you get an invitation like this? Did you get an invitation like this? No, you automatically assume everybody got one. It's not like getting a Xerox sheet of paper that says George's beer bust with the directions. No, what you're doing is he thinks everybody got this fancy invitation. And hopefully he'll come. And if he doesn't come, call him up. But there's a high probability, not only is he going to come, what's he going to do? Bring a friend along with him. If you meet a guy and he says he has a girlfriend, if he's married, if he's living with someone, don't let that deter you because he has friends. So to say, do you have any single friends who are as attractive as you, as witty as you, as intelligent as you? So that's the important thing of marketing, that just because a guy is married or a guy is involved, he may have friends as qualified, as attractive, as intelligent, as witty, that would become your new best friend. So don't be afraid to ask. Don't get scared, because if I saw you and I got your name off of your credit card or off of your baggage tag and I called you up and I said, would you like to get together? And you said, gee, thank you for the compliment, but I'm dating someone. Well, I'd say, gee, Bonnie, do you have any single friends that you think I might get along with? Oh, yeah. There is a woman who works with me. There is my next door neighbor. So don't let the fact that a man is involved be a deterrent. Find out who he knows. Find out who he has, because he's got access to a network, just like you do. Another great way to pick up men is with a reporter's notebook. Go to a stationery store. A reporter's notebook is a thin spiral notebook. Simply walk up to a man and say,
Hi, excuse me. I'm doing an article on pickup lines. I wonder if you could tell me the most unusual line that a woman has ever used on you.
Well, I guess it was when the woman came up to me and said she was doing an article on pickup lines and what was the most unusual line I'd ever heard.
he's not going to ask you for press credentials. Even if he does, you could work for the New York Times, the Los Angeles Times, the Miami Herald, whatever. I'm a freelance writer. Ask him for the most unusual line he's ever heard. Write it down. Ask him his first name and his occupation, just as if you were really doing a story. Then say,
you know, Ben, I have been doing this for an hour now. I could use a cup of coffee. Would you join me? I mean, seriously.
Gee, well, I've got a couple minutes, I guess.
Okay.
Sure.
Why'd you join me for a cup of coffee?
another way of picking up men. What kind of questions do we have? Pat, what kind of questions do we have?
I have a question. Sometimes I meet a man and I'm not sure if I want to pick him up, if I want to go to for the clothes. I want some time to think about giving him my number and so forth. What do I do?
Ask him for his card. You'll meet men, you're not sure if you want to go for the clothes, you're not sure if you want to invest the time for a cup of coffee or a drink. Say to him, this is a busy week for me, why don't you give me your number and let me give you a call next week? Haven't men been doing it to you through your whole life? Saying, give me your number and I'll call you next week?
How can you make sure when you pick somebody up like that in the street that what you've got is somebody that you want to see more of and that you don't have, say, Jack the Ripper that you're giving your phone number to?
Right, the question is a good point, because how long do you have to know somebody when you size somebody up? In 5 minutes, you're going to have a handle whether or not you want to spend some time with them. And that's why I suggest a bright, outdoor, airy place for a cup of coffee or a drink, because when a waitress comes by and says, can I get you a refill, you say, gee, no, thank you, I have to be going.
So you're not stuck with a whole evening and expectations?
No, the first time you meet the guy, go for the 20-minute, the 40-minute, the hour cup of coffee or drink, rather than investing the whole evening. I mean, if this guy's taking you to dinner and then going to a movie, and in a matter of minutes on the way to dinner, he brings up something touchy and says, I hate kids, and you got 3 of them, or I hate cats, and you got 2 of them. I mean, he just flunked, and there's no way for him to redeem himself. And you're saying, oh, I'm stuck with this guy for dinner and then a movie? So better you should start off for a 20-minute cup of coffee or for a 45-minute drink, because you know it's going to be over, and in that amount of time you should be able to get a handle as to see if you like this guy, if you want to spend the time with him.
Yeah, Elliot, I was wondering what you believe is the best way for a woman to tell a man if she doesn't want to go out with this person that asks her out. What's the nicest way to say no to a man that asks you out that you don't want to go out with?
Okay, he calls you up on the phone, or is this in person?
Calls you up on the telephone.
And this is the first call.
Yeah. I'm waiting for an answer.
What have you been telling him? You've been lying? Have you been telling him you have to wash your hair? You got laundry to do?
No.
You've been out every night this week? Your roommate's mother's in from Peru?
I haven't used any of
You haven't used any of those?
No.
I think the main thing is to be honest with him, is to let him know I really appreciate the invitation, or thank you so much for thinking of me. However, now, what's the however? You could tell the white lie and say, however, I am dating someone, because that'll back him off. That's the little white lie, which we've all told. You could say, you know, I really appreciate the invitation, however, I don't think the chemistry's there. And I really wouldn't think it'd be fair to take up your time when you could be going out with other women.
I wanted to ask, once you ask a guy out, who pays for it? Do you if I ask a gentleman out, should I automatically expect to pay for it? Or how do you handle that?
Yeah, I think the person who does the asking should pay for it. That if you called up a man and say, I have tickets to the theater, don't expect to stick him with the tickets, or say, would you like to go to the theater? Don't expect that he's going to pick up the tickets because, one, he didn't choose the play, he didn't choose the concert. On the other hand, if you're talking about a drink or a cup of coffee, go in expecting to pay for the date. He may, in turn, say, let me get the check. When the waitress brings the check, he may not be able to deal with the women's liberation. The women can pay her own way. He may reach for it. Again, that's up to you to say, this treat's on me, men love it. Or, let me pay my half, men like it. Other men will be threatened by it or feel that's not the way it's supposed to be, they'll insist. But go in, that person who asked, because suppose a man asks you out and says to you, let's see, you had the hamburger, the French fries, the coffee, let's see, the tax, you're going to think that's tacky, correct? So go in expecting to pay for the whole thing. If he insists, then it's up to you. Okay, now that we've been talking, what do you do with all this? You have to decide what to do. I want you to practice for 1 month, picking up men, just for practice, not for keeps, just for practice. Now, you have to be concerned if you have any fears, and what those fears are. Is it the fear of success, or is it the fear of failure? Because most people think it's the fear of failure. You might be concerned whether it's your new fear of success, because what might happen? You may be picking up men left and right. You may become like one of those Chinese acrobats, you know how they spin the plates, and when you get down to this end, you have to move back to the other end. You may have more men than you can handle. So be careful, because all you're looking for is one good one at a time. Now, what do you do with a man? You go out with him, you pick up a man, and he's just not for you. Haven't we all faced that?
Yes.
You go out with a man, nice guy, not for you, maybe for somebody else. Don't dispose him. Don't dispose of him. Here's what you do. Say to him, you know, I think we should have a party. That obviously you're a nice person, you're a nice guy, but gee, the chemistry's not there, and maybe you felt the same way. But I think you're a super guy. Why don't we have a party? I'll invite 10 ladies, and you invite 10 men. All the men will bring along a bottle of wine, and all the ladies will bring an hors d'oeuvre. So now what you're getting to do is to meet 10 of his friends. You know, a lady did that, and I called her up to check on something, and she said to me, Elliot, I got married. I says, you did? She said, yeah, I did exactly what you said at your pickup class. I says, what was that? She said, I met a guy. We decided to have a party. He invited 10 men. I invited 10 women. I met a guy there who was a doctor. I said, well, tell me about it. She said, well, we went out on Thursday. We spent the weekend together, and we got married the following week.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, I can imagine his conversation with her mother. Hello, Mom. Hi, this is Jeannie. Yeah, I'm getting married. How long have I known the guy? Let's see, what time is it? I ran into a guy about a year later. He said, do you remember Jeannie? I said, yeah. He says, I just want to let you know she's now living in Denver and she has a 4-month-old baby. So again, these techniques work. All you have to do is take the risk, try them. You never know what'll happen. Remember, you're going to practice for 1 month. If you need to review this cassette, review it, watch it again, but don't procrastinate. The important thing is that there's lots of men dying to get picked up, and you're the lady that's going to pick them up, except you're not going to pick them up sitting at home. You're not going to pick them up if you don't go out. You have to open your mouth up. You have to use your sense of humor. Expect to get rejected, because you will. At the same time, expect to get accepted, because you will. Because you're the one who's Miss Sunshine. You're the one who's going to pick these men up, left and right. One good one at a time is all you're looking for. And no lady has too many men in her life, do they? So for 1 month, just for practice. We're not doing it for keeps, just for practice. You're going to have lots of successes. You're going to have some failures. If you have some successes, at the end of this tape, there'll be an address. Tell me your successes. Lots of people have used these techniques. There's been lots of marriages. That's what I want to know about. So tell us what happened. Tell us of your successes. Invite us to your weddings.